But literally overnight, everything was taken away from me. I had no apartment to go back to because it was confiscated. They froze all of our accounts. I felt so free, and I felt like, okay, first of all, I don't have any obligation to this person I am with.
If I'm constantly, as you mentioned about my trailer, talking about money in a negative way, and if money were a person, of course we wouldn't be friends.
So it's so many aspects, you know, to healing your relationship with money has so many different aspects that we need to look at. The physical, the emotional, the spiritual, past, present and future.
Oof.
You know, inner child healing, limiting beliefs. There's so much.
Life is moving so quickly, and there are so many things that happen in this world that are outside of our control. That's it, we're debt culture.
You're debt culture, yeah, and I really think this is a big thing to start to break out of, because again, then we go into that taboo thing.
That's dirty.
That's dirty. Money's dirty.
Money's dirty. It's
Which
weird
is
though.
Sexy dirty. I haven't said this publicly, I think, ever.
Okay. Here we go.
Here we go. This is the platform.
Wow, that was a journey. Maria, I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
As you know, the topic of my podcast is my bad relationship with money.
Yes.
And I know that's probably like irked you a little bit hearing me say that. And I know you've listened to my trailer.
Yes.
And you had some advice for me.
Yes. So I really believe that the way that we talk about money, it's super important, because when we speak, you know, we are spelling, so we're casting spells with our voice and with our words.
Yeah.
So the first thing you're saying is, I hate money. And I was like, ooh, it felt like there was like a knife in my heart. And I was like, no, because the way that I see it is like, imagine if money, or the frequency of money, is listening into you, and you're saying straight away, I hate money. They'd be like, okay, I'm not going to go there.
I've already closed the door.
Yes, exactly. You're already almost putting a wall, and you know, you're already creating a frequency around your podcast, around money, around what you're trying to learn. So I think when you feel ready, start to think about, is there a different way that you can present what you are doing with this podcast and your journey on the podcast? Maybe that is saying, I am learning about my relationship with money, or
That's true.
or I am understanding myself or my relationship better with money. You know, just opening that door a little bit to change the frequency a little bit around what it is that you are creating with this podcast.
I love that. And I think I've got to take that on board, because every time someone plays my podcast trailer, I feel like I've just put that negative energy out to the universe again. CJ hates money. She doesn't want it. She doesn't need it.
You're copying every time.
Gosh, I feel like removing it off the platforms right away. But that'll be the next stage.
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you so much for that.
No worries.
You are a sound healer and galactic Reiki practitioner.
Yes, I'm a sound and energy healer. I think that's the summoning of what I do.
How did you get into this space?
So my journey with money has been very upside down. I grew up in a very average household in Sweden. We had lovely holidays in our caravan. I had everything that I needed. We had a nice big house. So I never had a lack of money. But I know that my parents always had a little bit of a negative mindset around money. My mom would doing all the banking, you know, on pen and paper.
Of course.
I remember seeing her every week kind of doing the accounts or doing the calculations, and there was never a smile on her face. You know, I could feel that the energy was always a bit tensed. And as I grew up as well, one of my earliest memories about money is going to the shop on every Friday. We got our pocket money. So I used to get, like, I think it was about 50p or something like that. And I remember getting the coin. And my mom always said to me, spend everything now, because I don't want to come back to the shop later. And somewhere in my mind, my earliest memory actually created a limiting belief that if I had money, I have to spend it straight away. Yeah. Because it's not going to be able to be spent later, or it's going to be disappeared, or maybe one of my siblings were going to take it from me. So I already had kind of some negative beliefs growing up, which made it really hard for me to contain money. I didn't feel safe having money. I thought that I always had a feeling like I have to do something with it as straight as it reached me. Came over to London. I started working. I started making my own money. But as I mentioned, I never had any, because it came to me. I paid my rent, and then I went out to buy clothes, or I bought makeup. And I always kind of made sure that I was on zero, because I felt more safe in that. And I wasn't really aware of that until I started my healing journey. It was just the way that I thought that I was. And then I had relationship, my first kind of long-term relationship with
Yeah.
a man here in London. And I was in my early 20s and he was a little bit older than me. And he was wealthy and I wasn't working very much during the time that I was together with him.
Yeah.
We were going out, eating in nice restaurants. He gave me pocket money to do my nails, and I was
Yeah.
living the high life
Yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
for like a mid 20-year-old girl from Sweden, and had a nice flat and all of that stuff. And then he actually got arrested. And literally overnight, police showed up at our door, and I got kicked out because it turned out that all of the money that he had coming in was illegal money. And I had no idea. So I was so naive back then. I didn't see it, or maybe I didn't want to see it. I'm still not quite sure. But literally overnight, everything was taken away from me. I had no apartment to go back to because it was confiscated. They froze all of our accounts. They confiscated all of my like handbags, all the clothes, all the jewelry, everything that he had bought for me. Literally, the only thing I was left with was what I was wearing exactly when they came.
What?
And I literally stood on the street. All the police was running into our apartment, tearing up the whole place. And I was like, what can I do? I didn't want to call my parents. And I called a friend of mine who was squatting at the time, who, I don't know if you know what that
Yeah,
means.
yeah.
Yes, living in different kind of, warehouses or apartments that are not in use. You break in and you live there. So I called him and I said, look, I'm on the street. I really don't know what to do. Can I come and stay with
Oh my
you?
gosh.
Because I was so embarrassed, and I was still trying to kind of make understanding
Yeah.
of what happened. So I went to stay with this friend of mine in this. They were squatting a big office apartment in Tower Bridge. And it was really cool. Actually, had like windows looking out at Tower Bridge, and I was staying with him. And I remember we got a bottle of wine, and I was sitting on the floor in this massive office floor, and this beautiful view outside London. And I was like, oh my god, I have nothing, and I felt so free. And it was so weird. I felt so free, and I felt like, okay, first of all, I don't have any obligation to this
Yeah.
person I am with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be happy every time I receive something. I don't have to be asking for anything. I don't know. It was really weird, but this sense of freedom, I don't even remember if I didn't have a job at that time. I don't even think I had a bank account. Like I had nothing, nothing, nothing. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to try and see what it's like to live without nothing for a while. So I actually stayed in that squat.
You're joking from
No,
that day.
from that day. And I did a conscious decision. I was like, I'm going to see if I can survive without money because I like this feeling. So I stayed in that squat for almost like 4 to 5 months, I think. We lived in the
Wow.
squat, and we used to organize illegal raves, and we got money for the tickets. So that's how we made money to buy like some basic things that we needed. So I kind of went from this, really kind of high end living to like the basic of nothing. We used to
It's
we
riches
could-
to rags.
Yes, and we used to go skipping. We were jumping in the dumpsters behind Costa like every night at 5 o'clock when they closed, and we took all the sandwiches and all the food that you can find. And I was just like, I was loving it. I was really, really loving it.
Wow.
But then, of course, after a while, I was like, I miss to have like a cozy bed. I was sleeping in like an electricity cabinet because that was the only little door that had like a lock on it.
Did you feel safe?
I felt safe because I had my friends there. We had some dogs
course.
as well. Like that was like randomly kind of moving in with us, and they were like looking after us, keeping us safe. But it was a really crazy period of my life. But I really realized I was like, I like to understand
Yeah.
every single feeling, and also I always have this thing like, can I make it? And I think I had one of my sort of spiritual awakenings, so to say, because one of the girls that came to visit us, she was a Kundalini yoga teacher, and she started doing some sessions with us in the squat,
Right.
and then we went to have a one-to-one, and we went to the park. And during this Kundalini awakening that she did on me, I almost received my message, and they said
Wow.
that you tried a lot of things. Now you had like your fun, it's time to get to work. And that was the day where I completely everything changed. I went out, I got a job, I opened my bank account, I found the flat to move into when I got my first salary. And again, almost like over kind of the course of a week, my life was completely different again. And I think that is also where my relationship with money came in, because I started working and obviously I was having my salary coming in, but I was still in that mindset of money is not safe with me. So every week I got my salary, it was a good salary, I was working in a high-end restaurant, but the money just kind of flew away. And I was always thinking like, where is it going?
Yeah,
Like,
I existed for so long without money, and now that I have it, how am I not keeping it?
exactly. And then still having those limiting beliefs from my childhood that
Yeah.
money's not safe with you. And I think also living in the squat, of course, it was people coming and going, sometimes appeared. So, it was a little bit of that fear kind
It
of.
came back.
Exactly, came back again. That's if I have something, it will be taken from me. So let's just keep the minimum. So I kind of decided that I wanted to change. I was like, I
Yeah.
want to feel safe. I want to
Yeah.
start to save for my pension. I started listening to like Tony Robbins, for example,
Yeah.
the mindset coaches that are a bit more in the mindset. They don't talk so much about energy, but it's more mindset. And it really opened my eyes. I was like, okay, maybe it's a lot in my head. So I started to just manage my money a little bit differently. And I started like little saving pots with a bit of interest. And it was fun for me as well. It really was. But then, of course, in the back of my head, I had that thing, that the girl has said to me in the Kundalini Awakening, that there was something more for me to do. So even though I loved my job, it was a very, very high pressure job.
Yeah.
I started as like a runner from the kitchen, so just taking food from the kitchen to the table. But within about, I would say 3 or 4 years, I was head of events and sales
Wow.
for a restaurant group, and I got to work with some incredible
That's
celebrity
incredible.
chefs, and I really loved being in hospitality. I
Yeah.
loved meeting people.
You have that energy for it.
I really did, and I really enjoyed it. But then I think I kind of got a burnout, and I had a burnout just before Christmas, and I decided I don't want to go back. I really don't want to go back. So I had my burnout, and it led me. I quit my job again. We just went on Christmas break. I just sent an email. I was like, sorry, I'm not coming back. The decision was made. I was like, what am I supposed to do now?
You didn't have a plan.
I didn't have a plan. I had gone from homeless basically with nothing to doing really well in like the hospitality industry over 5 years, built up my career. And then now I'm like back at scratch again. I have no idea what I want to do. So I spoke to my grandmother and I was very honest with her, and I kind of shared everything that had happened over like the last sort of 10 years that this had planned out. And she said to me, I think you need to try some yoga. I was like, okay.
That was your grandmother's
That was my
response.
grandmother's response.
Wow.
She's
I
like,
love
go and
that.
try some yoga, because she's always been very spiritual.
Love that.
But this time when she said it, it felt really right. And I went to my first yin yoga class.
Oh, I love yin yoga.
And I broke it down. I was crying like a baby in that class when we were doing hip openers.
Girl, that happened to me. I hated yin yoga. My first class, I actually walked out. I've never done this. I was like, I can't do this. And it's because I have emotions that I've not dealt with.
Exactly. There was so much emotion. There was so much emotion from my childhood coming up. I had visions and images.
Yeah,
and
girl, yeah.
I just cried. And again, after the first yin yoga class, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I was like, if I can feel like this in one session, I would love to be able to share that with other people. Yeah. And I signed up for yoga teacher training. And it was so funny, because that was the first time that I could use that money that I had saved. I was like, now I can take it and I can put it into something. And that was a really proud moment for me, because I knew that was a little bit of money that I had put aside, and now I could invest that into myself. And then from there, things just kind of evolved. So I did my yoga teacher training. Then I did my Reiki healer training. And I came across two amazing galactic kind of coding quantum healers called Regan Hillier and Gabby Kowalski. And they do a lot of work around money. And this is where my kind of light bulb went on. And I was like, wow.
Ding, ding, ding.
Exactly. So I can use The stuff that we carry in the body that we are holding, we can release that with the yin yoga, and we can do the energy work on the spiritual and the emotional to kind of release any negative money imprints. And it was also so empowering for me to see women talking about money in this way, that they love money. They love to have money. They love to spend money. And in the beginning, I was a little bit like, whoa, but is this like normal? Can we talk like
I don't
that?
think we're allowed to. There's a real taboo around money.
Yeah. And then again, more stuff from my childhood came up. Like even the way that I was interacting with money with my friends and the way we were talking about it. And I was like, wow, I've always had such a negative relationship with money. But it was like that whole journey that took me from one thing to another. And then obviously looking back at my life and realizing that all those moments that I chose, because I know I chose them now. I chose my partner knowing that he was going to get arrested. I chose to call my friend who lived in a squat. I chose to grow up in the family where I grew up, because I really believe we choose everything that happens to us, because I was supposed to learn all these different lessons about money.
Yeah.
And then I could put it all together and I could be like, okay, where do we go from here? And I decided I want to be abundant. I said, I'm going to take it to like the next level now. So it's been about a 4 or 5 years journey. I would say I started properly working with energy and money and mindset work in this way just before lockdown.
Okay.
And that is also when I decided that I am going to heal my own relationship with money. And then I'm going to, guide others in
Take
that
people
as well.
on that journey.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what a roller coaster. And it's good to work on your gut instinct, right? Because I think a lot of us, we don't listen to that. And just like you, it took me a long time to realize I had a bad relationship with money. My sister's very different. She pockets money away. She's always been much better with money. But we're two sisters from the same family, same parents, same household, 4 years apart. Why are we so different?
So I believe that we come here with a little bit of underlying knowledge from past lives.
Right.
So it can be that even though your sister's here, you might have had a completely different relationship in a past life, and she will bring maybe a little bit of that knowledge with her, whilst you are bringing other type of knowledge.
Yeah.
And again, you're here for a different reason, and she's here for a different reason in this timeline. But you have chosen again to come back, as sisters. It's also interesting to looking, what I do with my clients is looking at their body, from my yoga teacher training, and then I've done other trainings going deeper into the body. If you have any extra weight, for example, on the back of your arms, a little bit on the upper back, it means that you're fearful of the future. So it
That's me.
Yeah,
that's me
you
too.
See, me too. And so it can be that we're a little bit fearful of the future, and that is very often connected to money as well. And then that starts to manifest as a physical injury or illness. So it's very interesting, yeah. So a lot of my work that I do with my clients now, it always starts with a body scan.
Yeah.
So talking about the body, where do you keep any pain or illness or injury in your body? And then we will go into that, and I will kind of poke around a little bit and see what feels right for them. Oh, okay, do you have any securities about the past or the present or the future? Or are you, fearful in your relationship? Are you not feeling safe in this situation? Do you have inner childhood trauma?
Wow.
All of that stuff will manifest and show up in your body as well. So recently, when I really started to work very deep with my feminine, which is also an important part when it comes to money, to have the balance between the masculine and the feminine, I started to get a lot of pain in my left shoulder. I took on a lot of responsibility, a lot of work, a lot of pressure, and all of that went on my shoulders. Yes, I started to have pain in the shoulders. And then when I decided, no, you know what? I'm going to step away from this hustle, and I'm going to move more into my feminine. That's going to be a more of a flowing way of running my business. Then like, boom, my shoulders started like activating and something started happening here. And I think it's a sign of that I'm releasing some of that pressure that has been built up on me. So it's so many aspects, to healing your relationship with money has so many different aspects that we need to look at. The physical, the emotional, the spiritual, past, present, and future, inner child healing, limiting beliefs. There's so much. And also physical as well, that we need to kind of balance, how are we kind of holding our money? How are we looking after them?
Yeah. I mean, it's so multifaceted. And I think that's why I'm trying to get people to understand that your issues with money are black and white.
No.
It's not because you don't have it. You know, it is such, when you go into it, it's mind blowing,
Yeah.
the angles that you can tackle this from. But I want to start with something that we spoke about, which is like money is masculine, right?
Yeah.
And if we want to bring more money in, we need to engage more with the feminine.
Yes. As we all know, we often hear that, right? Like, oh, we need to balance our masculine and our feminine. This is masculine, this is feminine. But it's important to do your own little research around this. But as an example, like you mentioned, the masculine is money, like money as an energy is masculine, and receiving, for example, is feminine. So if you can be in your feminine, if you can be open to receiving, if you can allow yourself to come out from the push, 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 and drive, and I need to go and get, and all of that, if you can allow yourself to come into, you know what, I'm going to receive what is mine.
Yeah.
And then the masculine can flow to you. And this doesn't mean that this is just for women, this is for men as well. Because very often men who are very driven, who are very successful, they don't have a very good relationship with their feminine. So it very often can tend then to be that they're not very in touch with their emotions. They might have
Okay.
issues within their relationships. They might have some, physical illnesses going on in the more sort of feminine connected areas
Yeah.
of the body. And so there might be like an imbalance. So it's really important, if you're a woman or if you're a man, to have a balance between both. Talking is masculine. So a very easy way to just come into your feminine more is just to actively listen. Let's stop talking. Let's stop offering advice to every single sentence. Maybe sometimes we just sit and we just listen. But definitely the thing of receiving and understanding that if I receive, I'm in my feminine, and then the money can flow to you. And that was a moment that really changed the way the money now comes to me in my business and in what I do. I barely do any marketing anymore because I
Wow.
really know that I am offering from my heart and from my soul. I'm happy with my pricing. I'm not super expensive. I'm not cheap, so I don't feel valued. I'm right now. I feel right where I am.
Yeah.
And the clients, they just flow to me. They find me. I don't have to go out and push and reach, I just trust that whoever is meant to work with me and whoever I am
Yeah.
supposed to serve, they will find me. They will come.
I love that. I love that money as a presence, has an energy,
Yeah,
and we just have to tap into it.
exactly.
But it's calming down, because so much about our life now is go, go, go,
Yeah.
work harder. It's not just about the 9 to 5, it's the 5 to 9, it's the 9 to 9, it's like 24 hours a
24
day.
hours, yeah.
And I think a lot of this started, I mean, you and I talked about money as a person, right? There's like two things I really want to explore here. Money as a person, that relationship with money, healing that relationship.
Yeah.
If I'm constantly, as you mentioned about my trailer, talking about money in a negative way, and if money were a person, of course we wouldn't be friends.
Exactly. Really, I think that was a really big moment for me when I started to treat money as my friend. And I was thinking back when I was doing my own healing work, and I was thinking back and I was like, how bad I have been with this. I
Yeah.
never wanted her to stay around. For me, my money muse, as I call her, she's a female. And I never kind of wanted her around. As soon as she came to me, I gave her away.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Kicked
go
her out
away.
the door.
Exactly. I'm not safe with you. You don't make me feel safe. Go away.
Yeah.
And I realized I had been saying, like, she's never enough, she's coming late, like all of this
Yeah.
negative stuff. And even when she came, as you said, I just like, no, go away, I don't want you around, you don't make me feel safe. So for me, it was about creating that safety with her and really making her know that she's wanted by me and she can stay with me. And I even like set up a little fake WhatsApp. I just saved a number on my phone, like a random number, as money. And then I literally started texting her.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was texting like when I was doing my really deep healing, and this is something that I do with my clients as well. It's part of the kind of healing program. It's that you send her a message every day, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I love you. It can just be like, hi, I'm so happy that you came around today and gave me that beautiful coffee, or I'm so happy that you landed in my account today. Welcome. Literally taking like a physical action step to healing that relationship that you have with money.
Like, thank you for allowing me to live in this apartment. Thank you for allowing me to eat good food,
Yes. And
to spend
another,
time with my family.
yeah, exactly. And another thing is every time we pay something like a bill, everyone that's listening, please stop complaining that you're paying a bill, because you are like able to pay a bill, and we should be grateful for that. Like,
Yeah.
thank you, money, for allowing me to pay my electricity bill so that I can call my friends and family in Sweden on my phone. Or, thank you for whatever it is, for paying anything. Every time you pay a bill, just say thank you and allow yourself to be filled with gratitude and love while you do it, because your vibration is creating again that copy, that the copy of the blueprint of the belief. And if you start to feel happy and joyful with money when you're spending money, it's gonna like completely transform your reality with money.
I love that, because that's steps that we can take ourselves. It doesn't cost
Absolutely.
money. It doesn't take time.
No, it doesn't cost anything. Set up a little fake WhatsApp group and just start to text her every day for a while, and just see when you're starting to feel different. Now I do it when I notice that I'm going back into like maybe a negative mindset, or
Mm-hmm.
something happens where I'm like, okay, I need a little bit of like a money frequency boost. And another thing is, on every single bank account now, you can change your account names.
True.
So add something nice there. Maybe not even what you want to do. Oh, sorry. But just add like a really high frequency word, such as magic or healing or love. Put it on your bank account, elevate the frequency, and just
CJ's pot of love.
yeah, exactly. My money
Hey.
pot, my honey pot.
My honey. Oh my God, that's what my savings account is
Oh,
called.
it's amazing.
It's always been called
Yes,
honey pot.
that's great.
There's not much in it, but it's always been called honey pot.
Exactly.
And it has, yeah, that's actually true.
That is so true. And straight away, by just putting a beautiful word there instead of 365, whatever your account number
Yeah.
is, put something juicy.
Ooh, I love
it's
it.
so cool. And again, like you said, it doesn't cost anything.
I think the problem now, right, is that like everything is getting more expensive and people are struggling to make ends meet, right?
Yeah.
And so when you part with your money for something like a bill, people feel stressed.
Yeah.
It's really hard to sometimes remain positive. You have more responsibility on you, you have more pressure on you. But any little bit of control that you can take, which are these little steps that you're telling us to do, they have to, I mean, there's no harm to take on these little steps.
Exactly. Little steps, and try it and see how you feel.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes every time, so we have about every day, we think about between 80 and 90% of your thoughts is the same every day. So
Wow.
there's a lot, right? It's true. So between 80 and 90% of your thoughts are the same every day.
Yeah.
So imagine how long you have been thinking that money is not enough. Money doesn't come around. Money is evil, or all of these negative imprints that we have around money, these negative beliefs. So you're maybe, in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s. So for these 30, 40, 50 years, you have been treading the same little walk in the forest. So imagine how deep that path is.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not something that's going to change maybe overnight. But if you decide that you want to change, this is the first one, because people are very comfortable complaining as well.
Oh yeah, we love it.
Very comfortable complaining.
Misery loves company.
Of course. So it's very easy to get stuck in a way that you have been for a long time, because we're very comfortable there. We get into victim mode and we get into complainer mode, and so by the first thing you have to do is to decide, I want to change. I want to change my mindset.
I want to change.
I want to change. I'm ready to change. And then from there, another nice thing that you can do is to write down a list of the negative beliefs that you have. So if that is money doesn't come to me, or I don't make enough money, or whatever it is, write them down on a list.
Yeah.
And then write down the opposite, the complete opposite. So money doesn't come around. Money flows to me easily. Money flows to me easily. Money flows to me easily. You see, and you just keep saying it, and then, okay, now it's gone. And then
These are affirmations.
Affirmations, exactly.
Wow.
And that's a good way to start as well. Become aware of what are the negative beliefs that I am carrying. And then, of course, if you want to go deeper, we start to look at, where do they come from? Do they come from this lifetime, from my childhood memories, from, imprints that, or maybe sometimes people tell us what we should believe as well.
Oh, I mean, look at how we talk about money. It's almost like taboo.
Yeah.
You can't talk about how much you have because you don't want to give people information like
Yeah.
that. Never don't let them know how much we have. Like it's a secrecy, it's taboo. Like
Course.
people would rather talk about insane other things, like
Mm.
their bowel movements, like whatever else, but they won't talk about money. And I think that's like culturally or from a society perspective,
Mm.
and anyone who has money, you kind of cut them down.
Yes, and imagine yourself coming into like a dinner party with your friends and going, "Oh my God, I had such a good day today. I made so much money."
People would be like,
"Oh my God, who does she think she is?"
yeah.
Like she's putting herself on a pedestal, all this stuff. But coming into a dinner party and saying, "Oh my God, guys, I spent so much money this week." And everybody would just go like, "Oh yeah, me too." And everybody's co-creating this lack and this
We
negative.
feed the beast.
Exactly. But how often would you say though, "I got a promotion and they raised my salary by"?
Oh, you would
You
never
would
say
never
that.
say that.
You would never say that.
No, because again, then we go into that taboo thing.
That's dirty.
That's dirty. Money's dirty.
Money's
Yeah.
dirty. It's
Well,
weird
she's
though.
Sexy dirty.
Yeah, it's sexy dirty, but it's weird, right? We've created these taboos for ourselves. So forever, society has told us
Yeah.
what we can or can't think about money and where our place is with money. And one thing that you and I talked about is boss babe culture
Yes.
and the toxicity that might have caused.
I'm gonna get so much, I think, about this, but I am not a boss babe promoter.
Yeah.
I am not even a feminist. I haven't said this publicly, I think,
Wow,
ever.
okay. Here we go.
Here we go. This is the platform. We are different. We
Yeah.
have different energies.
Yeah.
And women are here to heal the world. We are the healers of the world.
Yeah.
We are the receivers. Men are the givers. We are the carers. Men are the protectors. I really believe in a very traditional form of energy.
Yeah.
Now, this doesn't mean that women shouldn't work. Absolutely, you should work. But I really believe that the way that we should work should be different.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is a really big topic, but it comes into even, looking at your cycle. When in the month do you actually have the energy or to do certain things? And when do you need to be more still and maybe focus on other things within your business? When do you, everything, it comes down to everything within the feminine and within the masculine. And I think this boss babe culture is somewhat toxic because it shows you again that we need to push.
We need to be masculine. We need to be
like charge more, £10,000 for a course, or why? Like, I don't get it. Yes, of course you should always be valued for the work you do. I think that there's another way of working. And again, it's the thing of coming back to, what is wealth to me? Wealth for me is not having a lot of money in my bank. I want to know that I'm safe.
Yeah,
so that I can start to release some of this weight on my arms, because I know my future is safe and I got a nice house and I have the things that I want. But for me, wealth is time. Having time for myself, to look after myself, look after my body, look after my partner, look after our house. But at the same time, I want to be able to share my gifts. So it's about finding that balance of being able to work, but in a way that suits me.
Yeah.
So that is my wealth. And yeah, I really believe that this boss babe culture of, being in your masculine and hustle and bustle and putting people down and having an attitude and not that's not feminine. That's not what we do. That's not what the masculine should do either, because it's a toxic masculinity that we are inheriting and now calling it boss babe culture.
Because everything that has to do with success and the economy and the workforce is structured around masculine energy and like how they perform best, right?
Yeah.
I was even thinking during the Olympics, and I've thought this before, these events that women are in, there are days you don't want to move.
Yeah.
And like it's not structured. It's just this is the schedule, this is how we go.
Yeah.
Whereas those athletes, you just think, God, what if she just got her period today?
Exactly.
And I'm sure they do a lot of things to try and manipulate it, to try and maybe not get their period during that time. But society is not structured for us.
No, it's not. And it's, again, when I'm saying I'm not a feminist, that I think that's not wrong, but I'm not a feminist such as feminists are being thought of today. I am a feminist for allowing women to be in their full feminine. This is the only way that we should promote ourselves and wanting to be. And that means exactly what you're saying, that some days I need to be in a different place. I need to be home, or I need to be in a park, or I need to, look after
Yeah.
myself in a different way. And to be honest, men have the same. Men have cycles as well. But we never talk about that, right? Because they don't want to have anybody telling to them that they might have days where they need to kind of back off a little bit and be more settled.
Right.
So there's so much within the whole thing about our genetics and our biology that is not correctly represented.
Yeah.
And it's pushing us out of balance. And that's why we're having more and more illness in this society, because we are not in our energy the way that we should be in our energy. A man is, supposed to be the protector of the feminine, and it doesn't mean, just his wife or his partner. It means as in a society. And the best way to weaken a society is to weaken the men, because they won't have any protectors anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, I get goosebumps when I talk about this, because this is like, it's so much stuff happening in the world, and there's so much happening within the masculine and the feminine, that if you're not awoke and you're not looking at it, you can't see it. And I'm so worried that we're gonna look back and we're gonna go like, whoa, how could that happen to our society, or why did we get here? Because everything is so messed up.
But I don't even think we have a time for a self-reflection.
No.
Life is moving so quickly, and there are so many things that happen in this world that are outside of our control,
Yeah.
that we're just kind of these little puppets that get pushed along. And we try to reflect and like, wait, stop. Like, what's happening here?
Exactly.
And we're just not given the space.
Exactly. And while the men is out chasing the money and the watches and the cars, they don't look, and they won't be able to see, and they won't protect us.
This is all down to like social media as well,
Yeah.
right? Like what is promoted as being success,
Yes.
successful, abundance. Like I think a lot of us don't take a moment to think about what wealth is to us.
Yes.
Right? Like assessing, like, what does it mean to be wealthy? Like, I do think I'm a wealthy person.
Mm-hmm.
I have my health. I have a safe place to live. I can buy most of the groceries that I want,
Yeah.
like I am wealthy. And I think then it's also about, like, as you've mentioned very aptly, what is your threshold? Like,
Yeah.
like where is the point where you're like, I actually have enough. I don't need to keep working for it. Because I think society teaches us to keep going,
Yeah.
strive for more. Where is the ceiling? We're just constantly like breaking through it again, and it's tiring.
I think for me personally, and what I recommend my clients to do, is to don't start to look at money as a number. Like, forget about the money. Look at the vision.
Yeah,
What
okay.
is the vision? So for me, think about what does it look like? What's the vision around what I want? And then aim for that, and don't focus so much on the numbers. So if that is, I want to be healthy. And then we know, okay, so that means I need to have time to go to the gym. I need to be able to pay for a gym membership. I need to maybe do some, spiritual healing or acupuncture or whatever that means
Yeah.
for that person particularly. But then look at the vision. Okay, so this is my next step. And then sort of the money will come for that. And that's another thing, about manifestation. A lot of people talk about manifestation around money as well.
Yeah.
But I always believe, don't focus on the number, just always go for the vision. The money is a step to take you where you want to go. So that was really helpful for me as well.
That's wonderful. And I think, one of the reasons I'm going on this journey now rather than 10 years ago, because my realization that I have issues with money started in 2020, but I didn't have a kid then. Now I have a kid. He's 2 years old. And I need to heal my relationship with money so that I can give him the best chance of having a good relationship with money, right?
I love that.
So I'm very conscious about how we talk about money in front of him, because I know that was a big issue for me.
Yeah.
Like seeing my parents fight over money, have it be this like power struggle between them, has had an impact on my life and how I feel about money, right? It's a negative space. It's an aggressive space. It's a space I don't want to be around. Money brings issues, rather than fixes them. And that's a narrative I'm working on for myself. But how do we talk to our kids about money? One, there's two parts to this. How do we talk to them about money, and how do we talk about money around them?
But try to keep the conversation positive,
Yeah.
and if there is a more negative conversation to be had, have it in a conscious way. Because
Okay.
what I find as well, we don't give money a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
I feel like in the old days, or so to say, when I was growing up, when we didn't have internet banking and things
Yeah.
like that, it was almost like a little bit of um a ritual, right? Or I don't know how to call it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, every Thursday we sit down and let's do the accounts.
Okay,
And I think
yes.
we need to bring some of that back. So almost like, and when he gets a little bit older, invite him in, make him understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So sit down, maybe do a little planner about money, and what you're saving to, how much you need to save, and really make him understand about that sort of thing. But I also think a big one when it comes to children is that we need to start to get them out of this rat race mentality, that the only thing you should do is to go to school, take a massive mortgage to continue your study, be inbound in debt for your whole life, and then take another mortgage that inbounds you to a house, and you're just in debt your whole
That's
life.
it. We're
And
debt culture.
your debt culture, yeah. And I really think this is a big thing to start to break out of. So starting a savings account for your children as early as possible, but really think about what are we saving for. So that can be first bicycle, holiday camp, or whatever it is. I've recently started following a really powerful man, I would say. His name is Robert Moore, and he's on Instagram, and he's a money mindset coach. And he always says, you invest to save. No, sorry, you invest and then you invest, you save, and then you spend. So you make an investment. The return you get on the investment is what you then can spend. So you haven't actually spent your money, but
Yeah.
you're spending the money that you get back on the money that you have saved. And that was a really big one for me. So that's what I'm doing now as well. And then also teach your children about investment. Yeah, like investment as a whole. There's so many things that we can invest in. You can start to buy like toys for them that are popular now, and in 40 years those toys are going to be worth money.
Teach them that we buy this toy, but we don't play with
We
it
don't
because
play with it because it's going to be
Okay.
worth for you in the future. Because I
Wow.
really learned that money doesn't have to just sit in my account and grow.
Yeah.
You can actually invest in things that you're interested in, and that will help to grow. And that's good for the energy as well. So teach your children about different ways of making money. We don't have to go into this 9 to 5, rat race. And also always allow your children to bring out the creativity. Allow them time to bring out the creativity, find their gifts, their passions, and teach them that they can make money from this. I really believe that the sooner that we can find our own gifts and our talents, and the sooner we can understand that I can actually make a living on this, I can do this, then we can start to create something really beautiful in this world.
And that would avoid burnouts. That would avoid people working in jobs where they actually don't feel satisfied and have like a midlife crisis or a quarter life crisis or, oh gosh, a 5 years later crisis.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a friend who studied engineering, and
Mhm.
one day he just had a meltdown. He just had a physical burnout.
Yeah.
And the problem with a burnout is that it actually takes a lot of time to recover from. You don't just have a
does.
burnout, like, have a nap and get over it. It's
No.
like a very physical, emotional, crippling thing that happens to you.
Yeah.
He kind of had to think about what he wanted to do with his life and retrained as a doctor.
Yeah.
If it's not your true calling in life, one day that will show itself.
Yeah, definitely. But you're so right. It took me almost 5 months to recover from my burnout. I
Yeah.
went through everything, the depression, the PTSD, the anxiety that followed. I don't know what to do in my life and all that stuff. But then, exactly like your friend, I found my true purpose through that. But I wish that if I would have grown up, maybe been shown that at least there is a different way. You don't have to do, everything like that. Maybe I would have started to explore that a little bit earlier.
But it's so tough because the schooling system tells us you have to know what you want to do. You start prepping, you start doing all the
Yeah.
subjects, then you go to university, and then you follow that one career path. And that is going to have to change because
Yeah.
we've realized that we don't just do one job for our whole lives. Like, my father is an engineer. He's 80 years old this year. He's still working as an engineer.
Wow.
He's been an engineer for the same company since he was in his 20s. It's incredible, but we won't hear those stories again.
No. because also I think that our souls are evolving, our energy is evolving, and I think maybe that's why I'm doing this drastic up and downs in my life as well, because something happens to me. Yeah, I always had that thing that if it makes me happy, I will do it. I've always wanted to live my life and with the most memories and the most, the most way that I can do. And I'm 38 now, and whenever I talk to my younger friends who are in the early 20s and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with my life, I always say, just do as much as you can. Do as much as you can, try as many different jobs as you can, explore different, different things, and you will find your thing, and don't stress about it. Things will always evolve and always change. And I don't believe as well that we have to serve this world all as healers and, walk around with flowers in our hair. I know that other people will have other passions, but you can be a barista, or you can be a banker, or you can be, anything in this world, but you should be happy. You should be happy. You should go to work and feel happy.
Yeah.
And I promise you, then that money will come to you and you will feel, like, satisfied. But if you always go in and you're feeling that you don't like what you do and it's heavy, then, that will block your money flow as well. And yeah, it always has like this rippling effect on us. But to be happy is the most important thing in this world.
Yeah, to live your authentic life.
Yes.
Like really, like there is no shame in whatever job you do as long as you enjoy it.
Exactly.
And this is the thing that we need to talk about. And how important, and we kind of touched on this earlier, is the art of expressing and living in your gratitude, and also giving, like being charitable, not holding all your money for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I saw this thing where it's like actually giving your money to people or to charities and causes will actually bring more into you.
Yeah.
Because it's like an energy transference that's happening. Like just, keeping your money all for yourself is not necessarily the best way. And holding on to it or being greedy with it doesn't bring you more.
No.
Abundance doesn't come because you hold on to something. It comes when we share it.
Exactly.
And I believe that with everything. I believe in the energy of people and doing good deeds, not just because they're good, because you get something out of it, because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the only way that we will. One thing my mom used to say, so we're Buddhist, right? That's what we're born and brought up as. But I actually believe she was a bit more of a humanist.
Okay.
And one thing she always used to say to me, and it's resonated true, is I see you and you see me. And all we have is each other. And the only way that we're going to progress in this world is to help each other.
Yeah.
Not because we get anything out of it, just because that's what we need to do to survive. I've always held that true. So I think that's where a lot of my negativity around money comes from, because I see people not doing that.
Yeah.
They use money as something very negative, as something like a weapon.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be part of that.
No. Even when I was living in the squat and we were, making the parties, and we made quite good money on the ticket sales. Most of it went, I'm not gonna lie, to like a little bit of a party for us, some nice food for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And we kind of spend it a little bit. But we always, if we saw a homeless person or if I saw somebody that needed it, I always gave money away as soon as I had it. I know even sometimes when I was still working, when I was working in a restaurant after that, the first couple of times that I got money and people were sitting outside Sainsbury's, I always asked them, what would you like? And I didn't have much. I only had that week's salary, but I always gave it away, because I also always have that trust that it's going to come back to me. It's going to come back to me, and I really believe that it does. And also, money is a creative frequency. She doesn't like to be stuck in a bank account and just sit there.
Okay.
She wants to be shared. She wants to be creative. She wants to be used for things. Let her be around you. Let her be used. Let her be seen. And that is, the energy again is multiplying that frequency. So when you're giving something away, it's that energetic exchange. You're creating that rippling effect out into the universe.
Oh, that's so powerful.
It is.
It's so powerful. It makes me think of, it's a little bit different, but like, they did that experiment with the two plants, and one of the plants you talk really positively to. Oh, you're,
gosh, yeah.
You're so beautiful. Look at you growing, blah, blah, blah. And the other one's like, oh, you don't look very good. And that plant, now it could be a coincidence, but it did shrivel
Poor
up.
plant.
But it's just like, but that self-talk
Yeah.
is so important.
It's so important.
And I'm very conscious now about even how I talk about myself in front of my kids, and it's so important that we talk more positively in general. There's so much negativity around us. There's so much negativity around us. There's so much happening in the world, but we can only control what we can control.
Yeah.
You said that we could maybe do a meditation or a little practice.
Absolutely.
Can you explain what that might be?
Yes. So I am gonna lead you through. It's about a 5-10 minute exercise, and we are all gonna meet our own money muse so that you will have a really clear image of what your personal money muse looks like. So I am going to guide you all to meet your own money muse. And this can be a man, it can be, some of my clients have a cartoon figure, it can be so many different things. But you meet her, and then we will just start a little bit that process of apologizing.
Oh, I'm already getting a bit teary. I don't know
Oh,
why.
wow,
I already feel a little bit.
That's really good. That's really good. That means
I feel like I'm on
energy
edge.
is changing.
It's like I feel like I'm gonna cry. Okay, so what's the best way to do this?
So just take in a comfortable seat, however you
Okay.
want to be. Ideally, we should uncross our legs,
Okay.
just so that the energy can flow equally from the masculine and the feminine.
Okay.
And we relax our shoulders down. And we all can just take a really beautiful deep breath in. And let it go. And if you are in a safe space, you're not driving, etc., you're welcome to close your eyes as well. Then I want you to start to relax your shoulders, relax your arms. And we are going to come into our feminine, so we're going to come into our body. So I want you to imagine that your consciousness, your mind, is a little light inside of your brain. Beautiful little light. And now I want you to imagine that this consciousness flows down through your mouth, through your throat, floating down into your heart. And we bring our consciousness and our awareness into our heart. Now it's really dark and cozy and calm inside of our heart. And just take a breath into the heart. And let it go. Now inside of your heart, I want you to imagine a space, a really beautiful space. It can be a landscape, it can be heaven, it can be anywhere that comes to your mind. But it's just a beautiful space starting to be created inside of your heart. And then I want you to transform into yourself. So your consciousness transforms into yourself. And now, in this landscape or in this space in front of you, a door is being created. It can be any type of door, whatever you're imagining today, whatever is coming to you, just trust that it's right. And I want you to walk up to the door. So you're standing right in front of the door, imagining the door frame, the handle, and just feel yourself in your heart, standing in front of this beautiful door. And then we start to hear footsteps on the other side. Somebody's coming towards the door on the other side. And then we hear a knock on the door. And I want you to place your hand on the handle. And I want you to open the door to your money muse. So just opening the door, feeling maybe the light is shining through the door as you open. And on the other side is this beautiful creature with a big smile on their face. Beautiful open eyes. And the energy from this creature is so loving, so playful. And this creature, this vision now says to you, "Hi, I'm Money. I have waited for you for so long to open the door for me." And she comes forward, or he comes forward, or this being steps forward. And you open your arms and you give each other a big, big hug. And feel their love. Feel how much they want to love you, how much they want to hold you, how much they want to be with you. And I want you to receive their love and allow for their love to start to spread out in your heart, in your physical heart. Feel the beautiful light from them, from the sun, from the door, from this space that you're in. Feel this light spreading in your heart. And all that love, all that happiness, all that joy that money is bringing with you. Allow for that joy to just spread around your body. If you need to place your hands on your heart right now, feel free to do so. Just hold yourself, hold your heart, and just feel yourself inside of your heart, hugging money, receiving money. And then I want you to think about one time when you were bad with money, when you said something bad about money. And I want you to say, I'm sorry. I am so sorry for not treating you well. And money loves you, so money receives your apology. And money says to you, it doesn't matter. You're here now. And we're going to have so much fun. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to create so much magic in this world. And I'm going to love you so much. And now just sit with these emotions for 3 deep breaths. Spreading out. Releasing any worry, any regret. Breathing in. Releasing fear. Breathing in love and money frequency. And releasing any anxiety around money. Beautiful, letting it all go. And now just visualize this new frequency of money. Just spreading around your whole body, your whole chest is being activated by this beautiful light. And this money frequency is spreading up through your arms, through your shoulders. Visualize this light, releasing any heaviness, any burden you have held around your shoulders around money, any pressure, any fear. This is releasing from the physical body. Allowing for this money frequency to spread down through your arms, into your wrists, your hands. Loosening the grip around the money, not holding on to money so hard anymore. We know that she's with us. We don't have to hold on so much. So releasing any tension in your hearts, in your hands, in your wrists. And allowing for the money frequency to spread down into your solar plexus, into your hips. Releasing any inner child, trauma around money, any negative beliefs that we hold around money in our hips. Letting that just melt away with this beautiful light. Releasing any stiffness, tightness in our legs around money, not being able to move forward. So allowing the light to just light up our legs, our feet, all the way down into the soles of the feet. Your whole body is lit up by this beautiful money frequency. And feeling this money frequency activating your brain, your third eye. And last but not least, money activates your mouth. So we start to smile. And we smile to money right now. And we love money so much. I love money. I want you to say to yourself 3 times. I love money.
I love money. I love money.
Big smile, big breath in. Let it go with the sound. And when you are ready, we can gently open our eyes, come back into the space.
Oh
I got
my
a bit
gosh.
teary as well. I haven't done that in a while.
When you said to be somewhere beautiful, I could see exactly the kind of place I was. And there was just like this lone wooden door.
Amazing.
Like there. And it was almost like I was looking at it from different angles, but I could already see who was coming because I didn't know you were going to say someone beautiful. But I knew it was going to be someone about money. So immediately it was this like kind of beastly figure.
Okay.
Someone kind of like ugly.
Okay.
Like just kind of scary, you know? But
Yeah.
then when you transformed it, it like and it turned into something way more comforting.
Amazing.
But I was anticipating someone that would scare me.
Okay. That's interesting.
It's weird. Like the anticipation of it was already like, oh God, where is this going? I have to confront my
Yeah.
demons. And it was like, no. You don't have to confront your demons.
No.
You just have to envision and nurture the relationship with this person called money, and they're beautiful
Yeah.
and they're here for you and they love you. Far out. That was a journey.
Yes, it is.
Wow,
And
that
that's just
was,
a little mini version. Obviously,
my
we can do an
gosh.
extended version maybe another point.
When you were talking about, you know, say sorry to money and, all that, I actually felt guilty for the times where I'd spent my parents' money unnecessarily. Like I felt guilt for the way that I'd spent my parents' money, like racking up money on a credit card bill or, calling mobile phones or, doing an activity which I ended up not liking or not putting enough effort into, like wasting my parents' hard-earned money and not making the most of it. That's what came into my mind. And I think a lot of my guilt and my issues with money come from my guilt about their hard work going to waste.
Yeah. Guilt is a powerful emotion, and yeah, I would invite you just to feel it. Just allow yourself feel it. Cry again if you need to. Think about it, feel it, and then I want you to just reimagine the moments when you did that, and I want you to come in and just stand next to yourself and just give yourself a hug and say it's okay, it's okay. Like really work on the inner self healing and self forgiveness, and try to release a little bit of like guilt and you know, you are okay today, right? And they are okay. And just remember that it's okay. But yeah, guilt is a really, really big one. For me as well, it was a big one.
Oh, okay. I've got to do some work now.
Yeah, I think we need to work, all of us together, to just come back into a place where we remember that money is love, money is creativity, money is, frequency, and there is enough for everyone. We don't need to hoard, we don't need to hold on, we don't need to grab, we don't need to hustle. She will come as long as you're living in alignment of your soul and your heart. Money will find you.
But there is this thing of people wanting more than they need, right? And that's where everyone feels like they need to be part of that game.
Yeah.
Right? And again, we actually don't have as much control as we think we do,
No.
right? Like in terms of those bigger aspects about money. So just controlling our little circle and not buying into it.
Not buying into it. Working in a way that feels aligned and soulful for me. Teaching our children the best that we can. Supporting our community the best that we can. And then it's like money just flows to you because you want to be around that.
True. I mean, it's like anything, right? When you stress over something over and over again, but you're like, okay, actually, I'm just going to let it go. It'll happen when it happens. Things do happen.
Yes.
Like when you're not fixated on that one thing and you just like let yourself, the process take over.
Yeah.
Just the natural energy flow of the world. I truly believe that. You should work for things, for sure.
Yeah,
of
take
course.
aligned action. I like to call it.
What's that called again?
Aligned action.
Take aligned
Take
action.
aligned action. If you want to do something, you can always take aligned action. And I love this work with some of my clients because they're like, from today, what you can do is just have a look at your money. Like don't be scared of money anymore now. You have a face to money now. You know what he or she looks like, or your cartoon figure, or your little monster. You have a face to them now. So whenever you do something around money, just visualize them and have that relationship with them. So when you are renaming your accounts, you are literally decorating their house. Right? Make it like a fun thing. Think about, okay, so I'm going to make, so this is the room for this. Okay, this is going to be about saving or, whatever. What are we going to call that? And really now start to like organize things and don't be scared of money anymore. Find out how much you cost, because this is another thing that happens a lot. When we try to save money, for example, towards something, we don't often have a realistic view of how much we actually cost. We'll have a figure in mind. We'll be like, oh yeah, my rent is this, my bills are this, and blah, blah. But be really realistic with yourself. How much are you spending every time you take the tube? Are you buying a coffee? Are you know, how much are you spending on makeup or maybe toys for your children? And get a really realistic view of how much do I really cost, and then start to work from there. And then from there, how much do I have left? How much can I save? And be really realistic with yourself.
Yeah.
Because otherwise what we do is that we put unrealistic saving targets, and we put money away for savings, and then we don't have enough, and then we go to borrow from our savings,
100%.
and then we feel guilty.
Yep.
And then around the feeling of guilt is where, again, we're coming into money frequency, and we're putting guilt frequency into the money frequency.
I can relate to
so
that.
It's a bad circle. So start to be realistic with yourself when it comes to your spending and how much things cost.
That is such an interesting tip. And then, you know, like, okay, my going out fun is looking a bit lower. I'm going to focus on other things.
Exactly,
right? So like, you're like, okay, I've done that.
Yeah.
I have my other pots, right? And they have a purpose. So I focus on those pots.
Yeah. Yeah, when my going out fund is low, even if somebody invites me out, and I look, you know what, my self-care pot is really full. So, you know, I'm going to book myself a massage that evening instead. And it's like, it's that balance again, because then you can always make sure that you're balancing your masculine and your feminine as well. Because going out, being active, that's more of a masculine thing. And then by, you know, receiving, having a massage, looking after yourself, that's a feminine energy. So I know then as well that I'm kind of balanced in my month.
And what if going out for a movie with your friend is also that massage, like that self-care pot?
Yeah, that's
Can you move
fine.
it around?
Then you can move it around.
Okay, all right,
definitely.
good.
But I would
But try not to do it too much. It's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. And
Yeah.
again, it's like, if it's a really conscious, you know, evening, you go and see a beautiful movie that's going to make you feel good, then yes, it's self-care. But don't go to like a horror movie and have loads of cocktails on the way, and because then it's a little bit more like, you know, it's not that sort of
You're taking away from your energy again.
Exactly.
You're not giving back.
Yeah. Everyone, I just want to invite you to write a letter now to your, whoever you saw, whatever your money muse look like. Go deeper, because today we only apologize for one thing. So I'm sure there's much more that we need to apologize for. And a really beautiful way to do that is to write a letter to money. And when you feel like you have really processed it, you might want to keep it for a couple of days and read it over and over again, edit it, add on, and then burn it. And let's start fresh. You know, burn the letter in a safe way, everyone. But burn that letter, and let's start a fresh start now for the second half of this year, for the end of this year. Let's have a new relationship with money.
Oh, I love that. That's such a powerful message. Oh, Maria, we have so much
I know
to work on, but you've given us so many amazing tools.
Oh, I really hope so.
That I don't think this is the only chat we'll have.
I will happily be back again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria.